Hello everyone, welcome to my weekly Facebook Live. It is a little crazy around here. We have a snow delay, so the kids are delayed in school, so my son is actually going to be walking out the door any second. So it's a crazy little day we have going on here. This is the box we're going to make though. Isn't it cute? I've made this box before. We're going to talk more about this, but this is like a double angled box. There's a little cupcake treat inside. This is one of my absolute favorite boxes to make. I really love this type of box. It's very fancy, I feel like. It's a very fancy kind of box. So we're going to make this box in just a minute. Before we do, let me go over everything that's going on real quick. We are in the subscription period for the March Paper Pumpkin. If you want March's Paper Pumpkin, it's going to be a good one. There is going to be an additional free stamp set to celebrate their 10th anniversary of Paper Pumpkin. So it's a really good kit to make sure that you get. The last day to subscribe for this is going to be March 10th. So if you want March's Paper Pumpkin, make sure you subscribe. In the past, there have been kits that have sold out. This might be one of those kits, you know, everybody wants that extra free stamp set. So I would recommend, if you want this kit, to subscribe earlier rather than later, because you just never know. It might sell out and you just want to make sure that you get yours. So it's going to be 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs. I know we all love cards, polished pink Stampin' Spot, and then that additional free stamp set. So we're going to get 2 stamp sets in the March kit. So make sure that you are subscribed to that one if you want March's Paper Pumpkin. When February's Paper Pumpkin arrives, I am hoping to go live in my VIP group, and there's a link in the video description to my VIP group. You can join me there while I do my unboxing. All right. Final week and a half of celebration. We are in the final days. Celebration ends February 28th. So if you have not gotten all of your celebration items, these are free items you can earn with a $50 or $100 order. Make sure that you grab those. Stampin' Up! Released 10 new items that you can choose from at the beginning of February, so you can choose any of those free items as well. This week for Celebration Sunday, we're actually going to be doing 2 stamp sets out of the celebration brochure. So I'm excited for that project. It'll be a good one. And if you have a really long wish list, time is running out to take advantage of the amazing join deal that Stampin' Up! Has going on. There are 3 options to join. Options 1 and 2 include the mini cut and emboss machine for free. And option 3, you don't get the mini cut and emboss machine. Option 1 and 2 are $129 to get that mini cut and emboss machine for free. If you don't need that mini cut and emboss machine, you can get option 3, which is $175 in product for only $99. So options 1 and 2, you also get to choose $175 in product, but you get that mini machine. So it's a little bit extra in cost for those 2. But time is running out for this. If you want to join Stampin' Up, if you want to join my team, make sure that you head to that link in the video description and sign up for that as well. Time's running out for that. Okay, this is what we're making today. This super adorable little box. I just love this box. So I mentioned that I've made this box before. I've made this box last year in September. We made a little box using the pumpkin cakes, the Hostess pumpkin cakes. We made a little pumpkin box, and that will be linked in my blog post if you want to check out that little pumpkin box too. We use DSP instead of cardstock for the top for that one, but I love it with the cardstock too. It just makes it extra fancy, I think. Today we're making this one with lemon cupcakes. These are the Hostess lemon cupcakes. You can find these in your local grocery store or wherever you shop. So we're going to pull one of those out for our treat. Unlike Little Debbie, Hostess does not have a little treat finder. So but you can search Amazon too. They sometimes have those treats too. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start with our box for our lemon cake. And then, again, if you want to check out that pumpkin cake, it'll be linked on my blog post. But it's the same box. We just used some different products. Okay, so we're going to start with the box base, which is 6.5 by 6.5. Now, I'm using the exact same measurements for that pumpkin cake. So it was more like, I don't need to reinvent the wheel for that one. I've already done the measurements, so we'll just do it. So 6.5 by 6.5 inch square, and you're going to score on all 4 sides at 1 3/4. So just go around on all 4 sides. Oops, I kind of jumped there. There we go. Score at 1 3/4 all the way around on all 4 sides. Okay, so that's our box base. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. As long as we have our Simply Scored out, we're going to do those lids. The lids are 6.5 by 5 3/8. Oh, and I need to trim these 2 pieces. I cut them a little bit bigger yesterday, and then when I looked at my measurements, I realized, oh, I need to retrim those, so I just need to take off just a little 1/8 of an inch. So 5 3/8 for those pieces, and you're going to need 2 of them. So the measurements in the video description are correct. So 6.5 by 5 3/8. We're going to score them individually. So on the 6.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1 3/4 on each side. So 1 3/4 on this side, and flip it all the way around to 1 3/4 again, just like that. I didn't do that one right today. That's 1.5. Guys, I did that wrong last week too. I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna kind of push that score line back. That first one that I did. You want to do it at 1 3/4, not 1.5. Got a little bit distracted here, so we'll make that our back, so it'll be okay. All right, now on the 5 3/8 inch side, you are going to score it at, let's see, 5/8 of an inch. So that is 1 past 1/2 inch. 5/8 of an inch, and at 2 3/8. I'm trying to read my instructions. 2 3/8. Okay, so let's do this other one. We're going to do this one correct. On the 6.5 inch side, you're going to score it at 1 3/4 on both sides. So 1 3/4, flip it around, 1 3/4. And then on the 5 3/8 inch side, we're going to score it at 5/8 and at 2 3/8. Okay, that's all of our scoring. So we're going to set that aside, and we are going to fold and burnish all those lines. So let's start with our box, because this one is easier, because the box is just, it's your standard box. There's nothing fancy about this. So fold and burnish on all of those score lines. And because it's a square, we've scored the same all the way around. It doesn't matter what side you start on. So just pick a side, and you're going to cut up the rectangles, cut straight on those rectangles, and then I'm going to fold that out of the way. And then on these, I'm going to get my bigger scissors. This is a little bit bigger box, so just take a little notch out of each of these little squares. Okay, we're going to do the same over here. And there we go. So we just notched out those squares, just like that. Now we're going to flip it over completely this way. We're going to do the same on this side. So cut up those score lines on that one, cut straight on those rectangles. And I'm going to fold that middle section out of the way, and then just come in and notch those ones. We're going to do one more over here. This is going to be your box. This is it. This is your box base. Okay? Perfect. All right, now let's move on to our lid. And we are going to fold and burnish on those score lines again, on all 4 of them. And we're going to do a little bit of trimming on this. It's going to be a little bit more intricate trimming. So this little 5/8 score line down here, I'm going to cut those at an angle, because we're going to cut these little side panels off. The only one that we need to leave is the center one right here. So I'm just going to cut these off, cut those nice and straight, just like that. Now we are going to trim these. So we are going to trim from this side down here, from where the score line is. We're going to trim up to the corner of that longer score line. I hope that makes sense. You can use your paper trimmer too, if you want to do it in one swoop and get a straight line. So what we're going to end up with, I'm going to flip it over to do it this way. What we're going to end up with, something that looks like a little rocket. I like to call it like a little rocket. It looks like a little rocket. Okay. Now we're going to trim apart these tabs. These are going to be our glue tabs. So go straight up that score line and stop at that intersecting score line. Okay. And we are going to trim these corners off, just like that. I'm going to fold that up so that I can get this corner, and that's going to help us. That's just going to help us have some tabs to adhere it on the inside. So that is what it looks like in the end. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. I know that one's a little bit more, it's a little trickier to get those cuts, but it's worth it. It's a little bit, this box takes a little bit of extra time, but it's worth it in the end. So we're going to start by cutting off these little 5/8 tabs down here. And just like that. Okay, Perfect. Now we're going to cut it at an angle. We're going to start at the score line here, this horizontal score line, and we're going to go up to that vertical score line, just like that. And I'm going to flip it over this way, do it this way. So start at that horizontal score line and go up to that vertical one. And we're going to cut apart our tabs down at the bottom, cut those apart, and get that out of the way, and then we're going to trim this at an angle. Okay, there we go. So we have our two lid pieces, just like that. We have our box piece. So we are ready to start assembling. I'm going to put my scissors away. Let me get all this trash out of the way. We still have quite a bit of stamping to do, so I want to get everything cleared out of the way. Okay, I'm going to use Stampin' Seal Plus to adhere my box and everything together. Make sure that you're using a strong glue. You could use tear and tape. You can use the Tombow liquid glue, whatever strong adhesive you have on hand that you prefer for boxes. Okay, so on all 4 of those tabs, I put adhesive, and we're just going to line up this score line with this cut edge. Okay. And all the way around, just like that. And so this is like your basic box. This part is, there's nothing fancy going on. This is your basic little box. Okay, so that is our box. And then for our lids, we're going to adhere them together. So I'm going to put some adhesive on these triangle sections first. So we're going to create the shell of the box first before we stick it onto our project. So just line up that cut edge with that score line, just like that. And you're going to do the same exact thing on the other side, on the other one. Okay, so we have 2 here. Now, if you only wanted to put 1 of these on the box, that would be okay too. I've done that too, where it's just 1 lid on the box, and that's really cute too. So you can do the double one, you can do the single one. Either one is really, really cute. I've done it both ways. Okay, so that is our box. So that's our lid. So our lids are going to go onto our boxes like this, and we are going to adhere them just on the bottom with these little tabs. So I'm gonna add some adhesive just onto the tabs here. Use your strong adhesive, and just onto these little tabs. Tear and tape works really good here. You can get the tear and tape exactly. You don't have the little Stampin' Seal thing in your way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this on the box, just where it's going to be. And then I'm just going to fold over that bottom edge. And that's going to create our little box. That's one side. So let's do it on the other side. Put this on the box, and then just fold over that edge, just like that. Isn't that cute? So that is your little double angled box. Isn't that cute? It's really, really cute. All right, now I wanted to cover this up because I don't like the way that looks. The bottom looks a little kind of haphazardly put together. So I have another piece of Daffodil Delight that is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, and we're just going to put this on the bottom of our box. Now our box is only holding a cupcake, but with all this cardstock on the bottom supporting all of this, you could definitely put something heavier in here. We got a nice supportive box down here. So that makes the box much cleaner on the bottom. So this is optional. I mean, if you don't really mind what the bottom looks like, then you can do it either way. All right, so that is our box. So let's get to stamping. So we're going to bring this in so we know what we're stamping. I am using the Sweet Citrus bundle. This is a hybrid bundle, so you get the stamp set, the embossing folder, and the dies in this one bundle. And the dies cut inside the embossing folder, so it's pretty remarkable. So that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to start by stamping all of our little citrus pieces. So I'm going to do that with my Stamparatus. So I'm going to have this all ready and pulled out here. I just have a 1/4 piece of cardstock here. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We're not going to need this whole piece, but I like to stamp on bigger pieces, especially when I'm using the hybrid stamps. And we'll go over why that is in just a second. But for the little rind piece, I'm starting with my rind piece. You can see how well used mine is. I love this bundle. So I'm going to use crushed curry for this piece. I'm going to stick my stamp set under the plate here. That helps even it out a little bit, so it's nice and flat. I'm going to use crushed curry now. I'm using my Stamparatus because if I need to stamp it again, I want to be able to line it up exactly. And this is a bigger stamp. This is a larger stamp, so I like to have my Stamparatus handy for this. Give that a good little press. And I think that's good. Maybe we'll go one more, just because we can. All right. And so crushed curry for that one. And then I'm going to take my plate off, just lift it straight up, take it off, and we're going to bring in another plate for the insides of the lemons here. So I'm just going to line that up. And I found that if you get this nice and straight, the other two just kind of line up. So check that, like half inch, or not the half inch, the half slice there. And okay, we're going to close this. I'm going to hold my scissors down. I have my magnets there, but sometimes the photopolymer likes to be extra sticky. So I'm just going to make sure that that doesn't move at all. Okay, we have Daffodil Delight for the inside of our lemons. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up and give that a good little press. And you could do this in any, I mean, you can make oranges, you can make grapefruits, you can do whatever you want. I think that's good. I think we're going to call it quits right there. And okay, I'm going to move this out of there. I'm going to turn my plate over so that the inky side is up. So I'll get that everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to close this ink pad. We don't need this anymore. Before we get to the die cutting, we're going to do a little bit more stamping. So I have some shaded spruce ink here. I'm going to bring in all my papers. I have some shaded spruce ink. I have a large piece of white. I don't know why I have such a big piece, but a large scrap of white. We're going to stamp, how many leaves do I need? I think I need 3 leaves. Yep, 2 for the outside, 1 for the inside. I didn't do any of these in advance. I probably should have, but I didn't. So we're going to be doing a little bit of die cutting. So 3 leaves. We're also going to die cut some flowers out of this piece. So we'll come back to that. And then for the greetings, I just have a little piece that measures 2 3/4 all the way across. I'm going to trim this a little bit shorter. So I'm going to stamp my greeting all the way toward the bottom. And then we're going to trim that up a little bit more just so that it's the height of the greeting. So have a zesty birthday. So I'm going to set that aside. We'll come back to that one. And then for the inside of our box here, for the second lid, we're going to stamp another greeting. So I have another piece. This one is 2 3/4 by 1. And where's that greeting? Here it is. So we're going to stamp that one, and I'm going to do it off to the left. That's going to give us room to put some flowers on the other side. Okay, that's all of our stamping. I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to just trim this one real quick. This one off to the side, and then we'll do all of our die cutting. So I'm just going to get my little trimmer out. We're just going to trim that to the height of the words, so whatever that is. Just grab your paper trimmer, trim that up. Okay, let's get out our cut and emboss machine, and we're gonna find the magic of this bundle. Close that up. We're gonna die cut those. Okay, you're gonna need your big cut and emboss machine for this one. These won't fit in the mini ones, so make sure you grab those. And let's do we'll do the lemons first. So you're gonna need plate 1, and you're gonna need plate 4 for this. So let's grab our dies. Grab your embossing folder. And for the dies, you're going to need this big one, and it's going to go into your embossing folder on the side that has the Stampin' Up logo, and it's going to lock right into place. Once it's in there, you're not going to really be able to move it. It's going to kind of just snap into place. And so we're going to line this up. So I'm just going to put my paper down kind of where it's going to be, and I'm going to lift it up and hold that die in place, just so that it doesn't move out of that locked position. And by starting with a larger piece of cardstock, like I mentioned was going to be important, I can use the corners, I can hold on to the corners and move it around until I get it exactly lined up. Oh, my light is glaring. There you go. So you can see it's all lined up, and I was able to move it around with the corners. So starting with a bigger piece than you're going to need is really, I think, essential for this one. All right, we're going to set this in here. Set your gray plate on top, your number 4 plate, and just run that through. And the dies are going to cut it. Well, the embossing folder embosses it. It is a one-stop die cut here. All right, so we're going to peel this off. The die comes out, and these are all perfectly die cut. Isn't that fun? It's so fun. It's so magical, I think. And then you have that die is really deep. So you can use this just as an embossing folder and get a pretty amazing embossed piece. Okay, I'm gonna put that aside and we're gonna bring in our plate number 2 and then a couple of our plate number 3s for our die cutting. So we're gonna move this in. Now the die set does have 2 leaves, so we can do 2 of these at once. And I'm gonna bring in some Post-it tape because I just don't trust these things to stay in place. So a little bit of Post-it tape will help you out. I have a bunch all lined up. I was doing a lot of die cutting yesterday, so I have a bunch lined up. That one's already moved. So, or it's hard to line them up with the camera in the way. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. All right, and I told you we wanted to die cut a couple of flowers. So there are 3 little clusters of flowers. You get 2 of these dies as well. So we're going to die cut 2 of those as well. All right, and then we'll only have to run it through one more time for that last leaf. So run that through. And then we'll get all these pieces out. So put those dies away. Don't need those. Get all of our flowers off. We're going to come back to these in just a minute. And our little leaves. And we have one more leaf to die cut. Okay, let's run this through. And we're ready to start assembling. Okay. Here we go. Move this out of the way. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna move my dies off to the side. Those are our pieces. Okay. Let's pull everything back in. So we have all of those beautiful lemon slices and they're embossed. I'm not sure the video is going to pick that up, but they have some amazing embossing in them. Fantastic. And then we have 3 leaves and we have 6 flowers. We're going to use all of these flowers. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of extra dimension to all the flowers. So I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight Dark Stampin' Blend and I'm just going to color a little kind of center. It's going to be like a messy little splotch in the center there of all of these. But I want a little bit of a yellow center to all of these. And then we're going to come in with our Color Lifter Stampin' Blends. And I'm just going to squiggle over those and it's going to soften those lines. It's going to kind of bleed that Daffodil Delight out a little bit. It's going to give us just a little bit of that spreading of that Daffodil Delight. And we're going to add a little gem to the center of this in the end. So if it's messy, if it doesn't look perfect, that's okay. Just a little bit on each of these. The Color Lifter is great for just kind of blending out colors or softening hard lines. It's really another magical little tool, just like our hybrid embossing folders. All right, so that's it with the little flowers. They're all going to kind of soften as they dry. And we're going to put this together. So for my lid piece, we're going to assemble this kind of off the box. I have another piece of Daffodil Delight that's 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. Then I have a piece that is, let me see, what is my white? 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And I emboss this with our Cane Weave embossing folder. This is in the mini catalog. You could use I'm going to use my Tombow glue for this, not my Stampin' Seal. You could use the Sweet Citrus embossing folder as well. That would be really cute, but I went with the Cane Weave. I thought it just added a little bit of like a basket weave. It's really, really fun. Okay, our lemons. So we're going to save this one. This one's going to be for the inside, and I'm going to save one of these leaves for the inside as well. So I'll set those aside. We're going to use the rest on the front. This little solid lemon, I'm going to stick on. I'm going to stick that back here up toward the top right corner. I'm going to stick that on with my liquid glue. I'm going to come in with dimensionals for these other pieces, just a couple on that whole slice. This is going to go over here to the left, and I'll put a dimensional on the back of this one. That's going to go just like that. And then we're going to put some dimensionals on this and stick it in there. I'm going to just use, let me see, I'm just going to use the edge of this one. Stick that down. And this is just going to go right on the bottom. I'm not going to stick that on all the way because I want to add a little leaf underneath that. So before I stick it on all the way, I'm just going to lift it up, tuck in that leaf, and then we can set it down just like that. Cute, right? So fun. All right, I'm gonna add another leaf up here, just kind of tucked in. Then we're gonna add 3 flowers. I'm gonna use my liquid glue again. Grab your glue dots if you don't want to use liquid glue. This greeting is a little crooked. There we go. I think that's better. So we're gonna put the big one, and I'm just gonna kind of cup it a little bit. I'm gonna put the big one here. Just kind of rough up those little edges of the flowers a little bit, the little petals. I'm gonna put a small one here. And we're gonna do another small one. Let's see, where do I want to put it? I think I'm gonna put it in a different spot for this one. I didn't leave enough room on the bottom here. So I think maybe we'll just stick it up here. And just kind of maneuver that around, tuck it under the greeting. So we're gonna let all this dry before we stick it onto our box. And let's work on our box though, because we are going to build this inside piece up onto our box. This is all glued down nice and flat. So grab your little pieces that you saved. I'm gonna stick on the little lemon piece here. This is gonna go on here. I have our leaf here. That's gonna go on. Just tuck that under, just like that. And we're gonna stick our greeting on. Sending you a big squeeze. And with liquid glue, you're going to have a couple of seconds just to make sure everything is nice and straight, everything is where you want it. Fantastic, right? Adhered down. Now you can adhere this down before you assemble the whole box together. I generally just adhere things down as I go, so that's how I do it. More flowers, use either your liquid glue or some glue dots. We're just going to stick some dots of glue here, one here, one here. And we're going to let this kind of sit and dry. I just realized we forgot to put on our gold trim on the front, didn't we? So let's go back to that. So we're going to let that sit and dry for just a second. I already tied my gold bow. I even did that in advance. I put that on a glue dot already. So let's bring this back, and I'm just going to see if I can lift this up. Perfect. It'll sit right there. Just like that. So just tuck that under your greeting. You can do that before you adhere it down. All right, dimensionals on the back of this, now that that's all mostly dry. Just a few dimensionals on the back. Peel off those backings. This is going to go on the front of our box. So this is a pretty fancy little box. So adhere this one down to the front. Should fit right onto that, onto the front of that box. Cute. All right, final touch. We are at the finish line, guys. I have these milky dots. These are in the mini catalog, and we are going to put these on our little flowers. So for the big ones, I'm going to use the big little milky dots, and for the little flowers, I'm going to use the little ones. I'm using this yellow shade, which I think is crushed curry. And we're going to do the same on the inside. We're going to add a few on the inside. And this, you guys, this is it. We just have to add our little cupcake on the inside, and our treat box is all completed. Isn't that adorable? I love it. This is a great little birthday gift you can give to somebody, a coworker, a teacher, a friend, whoever you have that is celebrating a birthday. And this is another box. Remember, guys, this is a box that I copied from another design that I did last September. So you can really use these boxes year round. Just change up the stamp sets and supplies that you're using. All right, guys, that's it for me today. If you are shopping, please make sure to use this host code. All orders over $50 receive the make and take kit. All orders receive a PDF with 3 exclusive projects. Orders over 50 will get that make and take kit that coordinates with that, and you're going to get a celebration project or celebration product as well. All right, guys, if you are watching this on Facebook, please share it with your crafty friends. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out, helps my business grow, and it's free for you, and you never miss a video. All right, guys, I will see you guys on Sunday for Celebration Sunday, my VIP group, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye.